Let's say you're 54 years old today. You may be thinking about retirement over the next 5, 7, 10 years. But what if I told you that if you're 54 today and you were to live to 90 years old into retirement, you still have 50% of your life left to live? Think about that. Do you have a portfolio? Do you have a plan for the long game that could support 25, 35, 40 years of retirement, quite possibly? Today, I want to talk to you about the biggest mistakes investors make when it comes to the long game. Keep it right here. Good day, everybody. Chris Heerlein here of REIT Financial, host of Wealth Radio every Saturday, 11 a.m. on News Radio KLBJ, and host of Retire Ready TV throughout the week on News Channel 36. That's KXN right here in Austin. If you enjoy our channel, hit the subscribe button. I drop new content here every month so that you can stay on top of the latest. Hit the bell for notifications. Also, go to reapwebinar.com to attend one of my latest Tax Freedom Summit webinars to keep you informed on ways to keep your wealth via taxes. That's reapwebinar.com. Now, today I want to talk about the long game. When it comes to investing, when it comes to planning for your retirement, we've got to build something that's designed to last 25, 35, maybe 40 years in retirement, depending on how long you're going to live. So we got to think about longevity. We got to think about your proximity to retirement, how much you want to spend, and a lot more. But the biggest things, the biggest mistakes people make are maybe not what you think. So today I want to dive into those. Here we are. Number one, it's chasing market performance. Okay, at the end of the day, if you've been invested in the stock market, in your 401ks, your IRAs, SEP IRAs, and brokerage accounts, you likely have done a good job of saving. You've seen the money grow, accumulate, maybe double, triple in value over many years. And so it's interesting how as you're working, it's easier to keep your head down. When you retire, you got a lot more time typically. And a lot of times individuals try to overthink their investment position. And it's true that when you retire, you may want to consider reallocating, utilizing some different types of strategies, maybe than you used in your 20s, 30s, 40s as you're getting a little older. But a lot of times individuals are chasing performance. They're trying to hit a certain benchmark each and every year, and benchmarks are good. But the question I have to ask is, are we positioned for a long-term investment strategy, or are we chasing the latest trends? As we've seen with disruptive technologies, artificial intelligence, cloud computing, cryptocurrencies, there's so many new areas to invest. A lot of times investors are chasing the big Mag 7. They're chasing some things that are hot today, maybe not so much tomorrow. And this is where true diversification, having assets in your portfolio that are going up even when the market's going down, this is where you can really position yourself to weather whatever comes at you. So chasing market trends, chasing market performance, forgetting the long-term perspective can be a big hiccup in your success. When we think about 2008, when we think about 2022, these were bad market years. These are years where we saw the markets drop 20, 30, 40%. And here's the thing, we're gonna have market corrections over the next couple decades, likely multiple market corrections, 20%, 30% or more. And one of the biggest pitfalls is letting your emotions drive your investment decisions. As I mentioned just before, having a plan and an allocation that's giving you some zig and zag is a great way to hedge against emotions when the markets get volatile. Because again, you have assets in your portfolio that are designed to go up even when the market's going down. When you focus on the emotion, a lot of times this is why individuals or families hire fiduciary financial advisors, is to help them make secure, educated decisions when things get rowdy in the marketplace and focus on the long game. Another big pitfall is just overconfidence, being overconfident in one strategy, putting too many eggs in one basket. You may have made a lot of money in an individual stock position, a concentrated stock position. We've got a lot of clients that have made a fortune in Nvidia, in Apple, in Google, and the list goes on. And as time goes on, you've got to ask yourself, How is my position? Am I too weighted in one area, one sector, or another? And again, there's also this emotional tie. When you've had a lot of success with an individual or maybe a couple companies over your years, you've made a small fortune, let's say, it's hard to let it go. And you also get in a position where it's gonna cost money to let it go. Oftentimes you've got highly appreciated gains. You need to be able to navigate that with a tax team that can help you build a plan of divestment so that you're not grossly overpaying in tax while you're rebalancing and getting back to a healthy level in the portfolio. Another thing that kind of ties into my first point today is frequent trading. Whether you're managing the portfolio or you have an advisor that's managing your portfolio, I want you to be real mindful of one thing that often blindsides retirees. It's taxes in retirement. Are you paying tax on money that you're not even using? I can't tell you how many successful families we work with. When we sit down with them, they are grossly overpaying in taxes. I want you to think about your 1040. Maybe go pull it out after this segment and take a look at your interest income, have a look at your ordinary and qualified dividend income. And oftentimes you may see a lot of income being generated. You have to ask yourself, why is that being generated? Am I paying short-term capital gains rates? Am I paying income rates or long-term capital gains rates? These can make and break a retirement plan for the long term. So overtrading can create not only churn in the portfolio, can create transaction costs, loads, commission fees. It can also create tax consequences when you're not holding a stock for a longer term period. So again, if there's frequent trading going on in your account consistently, you need to take a look at that. I'm not saying that trading throughout the year is inconsistent with a healthy portfolio, but you need to take a look at the tax treatment on what's going on with this frequency. Okay, we're gonna take a quick question here from one of our viewers, and you can submit your questions in the comment section. I'll be sure and try to get to those in upcoming week segments. This came in from Minimalist S508, says, I am planning to use my husband's company health insurance until he retires. I will be 76 years old. Can I wait that long to register for Medicare, or do I need to do something at this point? So when it comes to your Medicare, as long as you are on your employer-sponsored plan, or in this case, your husband's employer-sponsored plan, you're likely fine. Open enrollment comes at the end of every year for Medicare, and you may want to consult with a Medicare specialist just to confirm, but to my knowledge, is that as long as you're covered by this plan, you likely don't have to get on Medicare B and D and look at other supplementals. Now, if you're 76 years old, chances are you're taking Social Security, whether it's your spouse's or maybe it's yours. You do have to get on Medicare Part A to get a Social Security check. A lot of retirees don't know that. So I'm assuming that if you are getting that check, you're on Medicare A. But I think your question is really more so around Medicare B, D, and a supplemental, maybe a Medicare Advantage. When your husband retires, more likely that's when you'll be required. Now, I want, again, to advise you to sit down with a fiduciary advisor or a Medicare advisor, just confirm your situation, but it seems to me like you're in pretty good shape for the time being. Now, getting back to investor mistakes when it comes to the long game, and this is my final point for today. It's not having a clear and defined exit strategy. When you're working, your 20s, 30s, 40s, you got a family, you're saving diligently, you're keeping your head down. But throughout the years in your retirement period, this is going to be critical that you are monitoring the portfolio because you're going to need to live on this money. We've got decades where you were working, you didn't need to touch it. When it comes to retirement, it's now moving into a distribution phase. So what is your plan on divesting of certain assets throughout the year to generate your paycheck? Generate the income that you need, number one. But more importantly, what's your exit plan to divest of this money in a way that you're not overpaying in taxes? Because some of this money is going to always be taxed, i.e. your 401ks, your IRAs, you've never paid tax on that money. It comes out as income. Your brokerage accounts, that may be taxed at capital gains rates, more favorable, right? 15%. And then you may have no tax. Money at the bank that you've already paid tax on, Roth IRAs, health savings accounts. These are powerful accounts. All of these different things are taxed differently. So if you do not have a divestment plan to raise capital throughout the year, chances are you're giving more to Uncle Sam every year than you need to be. And the thing is about retirement, it's all about the net. If you're keeping more, you can spend more, you can give more, you can leave more. At the end of the day, it's all about the net and disinheriting Uncle Sam as best you can. So keep your long game in sight when it comes to what could be a 20, 30, 40-year retirement. All right, click on this next video to learn how to block out the noise and stay focused on success in your retirement.